Welcome back to another episode of The Fizz at Brown Carbonic, where we sit down with the people fueling Central New York's food and beverage scene. Today, I'm joined by a name that's a big part of that story, Mark Bullis, the man behind the Bull and the Bear, the Daily Diner, Yards Grill, and much more. From running one of Syracuse's favorite bar restaurants to creating a neighborhood diner that feels like home, Mark's built a reputation for quality, consistency, and community. We will talk about what it takes to keep the momentum going, how the restaurant world is evolving, and what's next for the Bull and Bear brand. But first, our sponsor, this episode of The Fizz at Brown Carbonic is brought to you by the Ice Company of Elmira, your hometown ice experts keeping upstate New York cool all year long. Every bag you buy helps support the food bank of Central New York, because even one bag can make a difference. And right now, with families feeling the strain as SNAP benefits expire, that support means even more. So when you grab a bag of ice made from the Ice Company of Elmira, you're not just cooling your drinks, you're helping your community. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for joining me today.
Good morning.
I'm ecstatic to have you on the podcast. You've been a big supporter of Brown Carbonic, and you continue to invite us to all your new ventures and projects that you got going on. From pouring our craft sodas to using our CO2 and nitrogen supply to now letting us supply you dish machines and cleaning chemicals. We truly appreciate your business and your dedication to supporting us. So let's jump right to it. Tell us about the story. Where did it all come from? Where did you start?
What a giant question. Wow. I guess it's got to start somewhere in Eastwood in my mother's kitchen, probably. I don't know. I sort of always felt like hospitality was the place for me. In a weird way, I stumbled across it. I started my career after high school working at Carrier and working in a factory. And that was a little isolating.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I had just gotten to be old enough to discover Armory Square and like the fun that was happening there in my like young 20s, and realized very quickly that it was a place for me. And by that, I don't mean just Armory Square, but like behind the bar or in the business, throwing the party, if you will, being hospitable.
What part of that do you think really drew you in? Do you think it was the cooking side of it? Do you think it was, mixing the drinks and the interaction with the direct customer?
The interaction with customer, for sure. Like I started my career as a doorman at Awful Al's, which is now Al's Wine and Whiskey. And this is 1998. So there was no food involved at that time. It was just a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I really never worked in a place with food until I opened a place in 2002 that had food. It was my first experience with a kitchen. So, with varying degrees of success at that point, really, because it was probably stupid now that I think about it. It's the fastest way to lose money in the restaurant business, in a kitchen, and we knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
So it was really the interaction with guests.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I was in my early 20s. And I really liked the pace of being behind the bar. I liked being able to, to talk to people 20 seconds at a time. What you'd be surprised is you almost can't say something stupid in 20 seconds. So that helps you.
Limits you.
Yeah, it limits you,
You must have some good stories from behind the bar or listening from, some customers. Can you think of one that stands out?
Oh, there's some that I can't tell, probably. A lot of inappropriate
We'll keep
ones,
those.
sure.
We'll keep those aside.
Not off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I have to think about that for a minute. Let me mull that over for a second.
Yeah. So you were behind the bar. Did you get in the kitchen at all? Did you have to get, were you cooking at all? Or were you just behind the bar?
So, when we opened Bull Bear Pub in 2002 downtown, that was, my point of view from that experience of opening the place was from the perspective of bartender, right, bar manager, and that's what I had come from. And I suddenly had a kitchen, and I had a chef at the time, and he wasn't there very long. So suddenly we had this this highly perishable section of the restaurant that I suddenly had to get involved in. So I had a crash course in that. And then to this day, I'm drawn to that piece of the business. I think the back of house people, in my opinion, are the heart and soul and the grind and the motor of a restaurant.
For sure.
So I really like being involved with that group of people in hospitality. But also, you get to see if you are writing menus and things like that, you get to see if you stand on an expo station, right, which is between the kitchen and the front of the house, you get to see how that gets executed. You get to see what's working, what's not, from a logistics point of view and things like that. So I'm instantly drawn to that piece of it today.
So I remember, back in the day when I was out in the delivery trucks, going around, delivering everywhere. I remember delivering to the Bull and Bear. Is that on Bear Street?
Which one?
The downtown.
No, it was on Water Street.
Water Street.
So Erie Boulevard was our back door.
Okay.
With those awful steep stairs.
Yeah.
And then
that's what I was going to get to.
Our front door was on Water Street.
Where did the name Bull and Bear come from?
So it came from the stock market, really. At the time we opened, there was a bit of a renaissance in Hanover Square, which was the other square downtown. This was 2002. We opened with 3 other restaurants at the same time. The same day. We actually had a big ribbon cutting. The mayor at the time came down and we did a big, a big to-do to
Where are
get
those
us
other
open.
2?
What's that?
What were the other 2 restaurants?
So the other 2, one was downtown Manhattan's.
Okay.
And at the time, I want to say the third one was called Tsunami, which is where Prime is currently down in the first floor of that space, which was Stereo's landmark a million years ago. We all opened at the same time. They cut the ribbon, and we had a big party that night. It was March 8th, 2002, and I forgot where we're going on this. You got that piece.
It's all right.
What'd you ask me?
Where did the name came from?
Oh.
So you said it came from the stock market?
Right. So with Armory being the square where everybody was, going out and whatever, we felt like this side of downtown had more banks and lawyers and things like that. And I wanted a name that spoke to that business. So Bull and Bear Pub kind of came out of it. So it was a stock market reference, but it was also easy to remember.
Does Bull come from your last name?
No.
No.
Those are they're both stock references.
Gotcha. So, as I was saying a few moments ago, and I kind of got off topic a little bit, but I remember delivering there. And I remember it was raining one day, and I had one of the big CO2 tanks, one of the beer gas tanks. It's, 6 feet high, had it on a handcart, kind of going down the stairs, bump, bump, bump. And I get down to like the third one from the bottom. And all of a sudden my foot, it was because they were a little greasy, a little slippery, especially when it was wet, is I remember my foot slipped. And I kind of dropped the handcart, and the tank kind of went bump, bump, bump. It stayed on the handcart, didn't roll off, didn't do anything crazy. But I do remember doing that, and I was like, oh, shit. And shoot, that was...
Did you ruin our furnace?
No, definitely not. That wasn't me.
The stairs. Maybe the keg guy did
Definitely the keg guy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me for sure.
That furnace took more abuse.
Was that like right to the...
right at the bottom of the stairs. There was definitely a few kegs went down those stairs the same way you did. It was awful. That building was built in the late 1700s. It's one of the first tenements in downtown. The canal was literally at the back door of the building. It was cool being able to occupy that building for a while, and seeing some of the history in the basement, especially.
Yeah, there was a lot of restaurants in that area. I mean, even Jay Ryan's was there for a little bit. My uncle was telling me of another bar. I want to say it was called a Firehouse. Yeah, kind of just down the road, I think. Does that sound?
So the Firehouse would be where there's another that soccer bar that's
I know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The German place.
Yeah.
So that
with the boots, the giant beer boots and everything.
Yeah. That's right across from City Hall.
Okay.
That was Fire Barn. And that's where I think the history goes that the Police played there on their first tour in the U.S. Played upstairs or something like that. Yeah, we actually got the pleasure of looking at that building at one time when it was for sale in the mid-O's, before it had been redeveloped. It's a great building. It's a really cool building.
Yeah, it's they got a cool thing going on there. The whatever the hell it's called, they turned it into
Beer
a
garden.
space.
Something beer
Is
garden. Yeah.
Wolves.
Wolves.
There it is.
Done. There you go. Sorry, Wolves.
Yeah, that's right. So you started Bull and Bear downtown.
Yeah.
2002, and then you moved to open Bull and Bear 298 or East Syracuse,
Sure.
across from us.
Yeah.
At the old Jalapenos. Is that what it was called?
It was called Jalapenos for a moment.
And then, it was a short time. And then, my father and I looked at it and were like, God, that's a shit location. That building's shot.
Shot. You're not wrong.
But, when did you open that up?
2013, January 2013. We started construction in 2012. It's funny, the story does not go straight through. Like, we opened in 2002 and then did this secondary thing. In the middle of that, there were tried and failed attempts to open other places. I actually left the business for a year and a half and learned commercial real estate from a friend of mine, Jim Kelly, who unfortunately just passed away. And then met the guys from OIP, right? And met those guys as they were just starting to build their brand out. And I've told Joe this story. They re-inspired me to sort of get back into the restaurant. I was watching these guys build this little, at the time, a mini brand. They had two.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're up to now, but they sort of, lit a fire, and I was like, I already have this going on. Let me go back. And we reinvented and rebranded the Bull and Bear Pub downtown and give it a refresh and remodel in 2007 into 2008. And then the whole world shut down with the recession, or whatever you wanted to call it back then. And Hanover Square dried up. And it was just myself and Wild Wills and maybe World left. It was tough times, and that's when we launched our catering company and decided we had to get outside the four walls in order to survive.
I didn't realize it started that long ago.
Yeah, 2009 I started catering. My friend Chuck Orlando, who owns the Limp Lizard, said to me when him and I grew up together, and he's older than me. If anybody wants to know, he's definitely older than me. And he said to me one day, he said, if you're going to survive, you got to get out. And he helped me write my first catering menu.
Get out of downtown?
Get out of the restaurant. You got to bring it, you got to bring food out.
Yeah.
And he basically cater, right? And he helped me write my first menu, which was basically a carbon copy of his. Thanks, Chuck. I really appreciate it. And it really did help us survive. And then from there, we got an opportunity to go to the suburbs, and that just took us in a different direction, and so on. But
what led to closing Bull and Bear downtown?
Well, so there are two different partnerships, and at that point, we had run through our entire lease. Oh, so we were 13 years in, and we were doing well in East Syracuse. And I think we made it to 2016. So we had already opened Liverpool as well. Oh, wow. And Clay. So we had Clay, we had the catering company, we had East Syracuse. And downtown had sort of run its course. And that business partner of mine, my friend Chris, he wanted to retire and didn't really want to reinvest or be connected to anything else. Yeah. So he said, you know what, let's just so we sold our assets to the fellows at Evergreen, which are there now, and just quietly transitioned out of downtown. So, and that was it. We talked about, because we had grown in a slightly different direction. We were doing more food and different food, obviously with a bigger restaurant in the suburbs. And we said, can we really retrofit this into this small space downtown? Live music had dried up. And those things. It was just a different time. Yeah.
So your focus went from more of a cocktail or drinks bar to mostly food, and then looking back at the downtown location, it just wouldn't have supported that kind of idea.
Well, we started serving a lot more barbecue and ribs and things, and I thought, well, do we really want to bring ribs in at 2 blocks from Dinosaur Barbecue? Arguably has the best ribs around. Like the answer was no. You know, we weren't. It didn't make sense for us to do that. Little tiny kitchen, little space. I think the whole restaurant was 2,700 square feet or something. It's really not big. And it just sort of served its purpose.
Sure.
It was, if you look at it like a stepping stone, it served its purpose, and I'm proud of it. And we had a lot of fun there. A lot of fun. Like whole career wise, that was the most fun piece of it. But I was also, 32, much different times.
A good stepping stone. So you had the catering rolling. You have like one truck back then.
No food trucks.
No food.
So food trucks
no
weren't
food
popular.
Truck,
That's like a new thing, really, if you think about it. And the thing we just had, we had a truck and a trailer. We had this Hummer H3 wrapped with a trailer.
Nice.
It was cool and cheesy all at the same time. And we catered. We acted like we were bigger than we were. I think, which I think helped sell our catering to people, and it was successful. Again, as we moved into the suburbs, then we had new eyeballs on us, and then we were able to cater to those people. We started doing weddings and things, and that was a whole nother set of eyeballs, and we started catering to those people.
Yeah.
So it went well, in that time.
So the catering just continues growing and whatnot. You have the Bull Bear East Syracuse at the time, Bull Bear Liverpool, and then what year did you open up Fayetteville?
So, in between that, 2016, we bought the little building down the street, which is now our catering and commissary building.
Was it also called Jalapenos too? Did they move?
Yes.
Did they move there?
It was their first location.
Okay.
Then they moved to where Bull Bear Roadhouse is today.
Okay.
But it was a little diner. I mean, I think it was called the Columnar Cup, maybe, or the Columnar Coffee Cup, or something like that. And now it's our commissary kitchen. It has been since 2016. 2018 is when we bought the Fayetteville space and opened that in spring of 19.
I remember walking through there when it was, what was it called before?
Huller's.
I remember walking through there.
Huller's for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looked like 100 years old. Like I remember walking through there and the floors were like this. You walk up to the bar, you kind of had to like walk up to it because the floors had just kind of sank.
Yeah.
So when you got into that, obviously you had a lot of work ahead of you to kind of make it functional.
Yeah.
What were some challenges when you looked at that you didn't know that you had to accomplish?
Well, it's the minute we opened up the walls in that building, we saw that, again, that building is over 200 years old. Actually, 2025, I think this is the 200-year anniversary of that building's being built. And it was a hotel. It was a public house. Yeah, really? It had a restaurant in it from day one, basically, and had rooms above. So not unlike today, frankly. We have our offices up there, but they were apartments, small apartments. And we opened it up and we found these old hand-hewn beams, which you can see some of in Bull Bear today, but some of them were broken. There were things like that. The floors, like you said, they had settled over the years. I mean, we probably disturbed dirt under the place that hadn't been disturbed in 100 years.
Yeah.
It was neat. We did find out that it costs a bit more. We had to invest a bit more than we thought at the time, but it was worth it. I mean, now the place is straight and true. And
so, being that it could have been 200 years old, did you find anything like hidden in the walls? No bags of money or anything like that?
Nothing. That's a lie. We found one little tiny bottle that was not a soda bottle or anything like that. It was a little tiny bottle, and it was right up where we put our front door when we dug that out. But that was it. I was surprised. I really thought we were going to find, like you said, maybe not a bag of money, but something. Nothing.
Well, maybe it's still there. So that's pretty cool that you really turned this building and just redid the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you don't slow down. You just kept on going with a new venture called Yo Burrito.
So we did COVID came 2020. So within basically 1 year after we opened Fayetteville, bingo, now we're closed for a year for the most part. We weren't closed. We were down to takeout and, we all went through it. And in early 2021, we found a little space in Manlius and in one of the plazas, and we opened a tiny little burrito shop called Yo Burrito. Yo Burrito probably was my favorite.
Why?
I don't know. It was just good. It was good. It was fast. There was so much about it. I loved the branding, a whole bunch of stuff. And it still sort of exists in a food truck today. If you go to the amphitheater, you'll see it. We serve nachos, big piles of nachos out of that thing. We ran that for a year and I think maybe just about 2 years. Yeah, it was a little over 2 years. And we had an opportunity to take space that was attached to it in the plaza, another 2,000 feet, I think, maybe even 2,400 feet. And I said to my business partner, Nathan Fulmer, right? I said to Nate, dude, what I'm going to say to you is going to sound crazy. Because him and I were working on this diner concept. In fact, we were driving to Albany. We're driving down the thruway, going to a food show. And I said, what I'm going to say to you is going to make me sound like a crazy person, which he knows I am. And I said, let's close a profitable business, put it on a shelf for now, and do that diner with the extra space. Do that diner we've been planning.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And I was like, really? Yeah, we're good. Let's go. Right. And so we did that, and Daily Diner was born. And
how many times do you say to Nate, I got that crazy idea?
A lot.
He's probably goddamn again.
He's great. Nate is we're two very different people in the way we do what we do. And I often will tell people this. I start my conversations and meetings with Nate with the words, I feel. And Nathan always opens up his laptop and pulls a spreadsheet out and says, let's look. Right? So those are our two words. We should have t-shirts made. But that is, I'm the nutty creative end of things. And not to say Nate is definitely creative, but I am definitely the emotional driver here, and Nathan is an operator and an analytic guy.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Where'd you come up with the idea for Yo Burrito? Where did the inspiration come for that?
Well, the Beastie Boys, really, right? Like Yo Burrito. If you looked at it, the font was right off of Check Your Head's album. We created an entire font alphabet out of it and did some things. And we had, so it was a mix of like old school hip hop meets burritos. But at the end of the day, it was very much in the, you build it fast casual concept, which you would see it at Chipotle, but you would also see today at at an Ann Pizza or what's the pizza place there that Blaze Pizza, that type of thing. I want this, I want that, and you build it. That was the inspiration for it from a food point of view.
You think we'll ever see it again?
I hope so.
In a brick and mortar?
I feel like we're a little Mexican saturated in that genre, which I really love that genre. So it doesn't break my heart, but there's no real good place for it in our market, I don't feel like right now, unfortunately. We were going to find another little spot in Manlius, and now we're getting a Taco Bell Cantina. I think
that's
someday.
Unique, huh? Have you seen one of them before?
I haven't.
It's your normal Taco Bell, but it has I believe a full bar to it as well. It's I was in Nashville and I saw one, and they're huge. And the space that it took up was at the old firehouse, fire department, which is a huge space. So we'll see how that looks. But.
Yeah. That was an odd choice, considering the ones that I do know about are in these big metropolitan A markets, and then they brought it to a C market and then put it in a tiny little suburb of that C market. And we're not overly, Manlius is not overly dense and as far as bedrooms go, right? So we've got a good demographic, but it's just not massively dense, which is why the restaurant scene in Manlius kind of comes and goes, right? Because there's not enough people.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know if I would have put it there, but It's not up to me. So
Me neither. Thank God.
yeah. So you put in Yo Burrito. You changed it completely, flipped it upside down, went to Daily Diner. As you look back, that was what, 3 years or so ago that you did the flip.
2023. Yeah,
You look back. Do you think that was a good decision?
absolutely.
Why?
Well, because it spawned, like it let us build this brand that, in my opinion, is our growth vehicle. Like, we definitely intend to open more of these. We just opened one in North Syracuse at an old Ponderosa building on Route 11, which is doing really well.
Yeah.
And we've been able to sort of hone out what this brand is and what it looks like and how it acts and so on. So I think it was a really good move on the in the big picture for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been to the North Syracuse one a few times, and I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's a burrito. I think it's not pulled pork, but it's
Short rib.
short rib.
Yeah.
And I just barely finished it.
Yeah.
It's and there's like is it a tomato salsa on the side too?
There's pico de gallo on it, and then what we call yo sauce, which came out of Yo Burrito, and we use that in all our brands, right? So of course we have Yard's Grill. You'll find yo sauce there, Yo Street Sauce. We first designed that sauce as a dressing to do street corn, rather than mayonnaise, right?
Yeah.
We just brush it with this and put cotija on it. And,
so you're still carrying the Yo Burrito brand around?
Yeah, we make that sauce from scratch, and it's so good.
You can ever bottle it?
I don't know. I doubt it. I wouldn't even know where to begin on that.
Yeah. The thing with bottling is then you kind of lose the love for people to come to the place and enjoy it there.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously did really well for Dino, and I think the Tully's boys are doing well with their honey mustard and their chips and things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been asked that before, and I just don't know if it's a thing yet. Maybe someday. Maybe if we get bigger.
We get asked if we're going to start bottling or canning, and I would love to, but it doesn't fit what we do now. It's its own completely different industry. It's a lot tougher. Shelf space in a grocer is very limited, so it'd be tough. The same idea with bottling the sauce is there's only limited shelf space that you can put it on. So
yeah, and is it in a competitive area of that market, right? Like barbecue sauces, there's 1 million of them.
Yeah.
Hot sauces, there's 1 million of them. So you get in a deep pool, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what yo sauce is compared to where it would live.
Where would you put it?
Right. I mean, it's probably close to Hellman's makes a Chipotle mayonnaise. So somewhere in there, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
I don't know if I have the bandwidth for it.
So Daily Diner, you got 2 of them right now.
2 of them right now.
Do you have a third one, kind of at least a space that you're looking at?
So we really like the idea of going into somewhere in DeWitt. So feelers are out for that for the moment, and there is some pipe dreams of putting in another state. But at this point, those are pipe dreams.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet, but we're certainly geared up for it. There's a package put together that we can install.
Cool. Very cool. Do you have other venues, or not venues, but food concepts or new businesses that you might be kind of looking in? You obviously have, the Bull Bear Roadhouse, the food venue there, the catering, and the Daily Diner. Do you have another type of restaurant that you're kind of brewing in your head or kind of thinking about?
Yeah. So we have Yard's Grill up at Green Lakes.
Yep, and Yard's Grill,
which is a really cool venue. We didn't have much input into how it looks, right? Because it's
State owns
nature.
It, right?
It's awesome, right? It's awesome, and but we're lucky enough to be the tenant there now, and we love it. We love serving people there, and I just think that it's a fun place. People are playing golf, they're sitting around, they're taking in this gorgeous view. So most of the time, a lot of times people are hiking or camping there as well. So you get people in this really good mood. It's just, they're usually doing something, something outside. They feel good. So we get to serve these people at their best. We also get the opportunity to flex a little bit creatively. So our chef, Brandon Gore, he works up there. He runs that restaurant, runs that back of house there and that program, that food program. And he gets to flex a little bit. And we like it. We like
Yeah.
it for that reason.
I was there, had to be a few months ago, and I was meeting Nate there for something, and he took me out on the patio and showed me the view as you're looking at, what is that, hole 18 or what hole is that?
18 comes up the hill and you're teeing off on one.
And so you're looking at the golfing towards you, and the view is just incredible.
Incredible.
And I didn't know that there was such a view from that place until he brought me out there. I'm like, holy shit, this is nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great at all the points in the year. It's really pretty in the wintertime. So we don't get to stay open all winter. They allow us to stay open into December, do some holiday parties and things like that. But that area up there is, it gets winterized.
Yeah.
They actually close the building down and winterize it until spring.
You close December. You open up until December for just walk-in or the regular customer.
We'll actually end up closing this. The golf course closes. Its last day operation this year is this coming Sunday.
Okay.
And we will close along with the golf course to the public.
Sure.
Then we start, we have a steak and bourbon cigar night. We have a wine pairing dinner. We have, there's a bunch of things that we plan. In addition to that, we're open for private holiday parties up until I think a week before Christmas.
Okay.
And then we're done for the season. Then they come in and they, blow the lines out and winterize the space like you would a camper almost. Yep. and put it away and we get it back out in the spring.
When do you reopen that in the spring?
Along with the golf course. So it's usually sometime in early to mid-April. So the golf course dictates what we do. We're there as a service to that.
Do you golf?
I love golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, my business partner and I play probably too much golf, but we love it.
You can never play too much golf.
You're right.
I don't golf much. I probably do maybe a handful of times a year, and I don't even call it golfing. I just kind of swing and hope that I hit the ball, and I'm there to enjoy the restaurants or whatnot to take up the time because my golf game is terrible. Maybe I should take some lessons.
Yeah, not for me. Mine's terrible as well. It's not good.
So, Mark, you've been doing this since 2002 at the original Bull and Bear. What are some challenges that you've been able to overcome over the years?
So, it's funny because you can look back at things and you realize, and probably parts of your life, right? You realize where you had a tipping point,
mm-hmm.
Or a fork in the road or whatever you want to call it. That my career and the entertainment of being in the restaurant business, and by that I mean entertaining people, has shifted several times, but you can pinpoint them. So we entertained people from 2002 to 2008 with live music and burgers and beer. And at that time, it was heavily cash and much less credit cards. And right around that time, a couple of things happened, right? We had a recession. That changed things. There were a few banks that were sending credit cards out to everybody and their brother at the time. So next thing you know, those cards were coming in. Even the younger kids had credit cards. And you saw a shift from cash.
Yeah.
But also the iPhone came out. That drastically changed how we entertained ourselves. And anybody who sits around scrolling today knows that started at one point. And in 2007, between 2008 and 2010, Facebook became, public. Because at one time you had to be a college student to have Facebook. So as that happened, we saw less people play darts and less people play pool and less people give a crap about watching a band. They were suddenly looking down.
Yeah.
I found myself standing there scratching my head. I didn't know what to do. True story. Didn't know what to do. So we hit a low time. And that's when we launched catering. And times got tough as far as expenses, right? Things like that got expensive at that point. much like today.
I was going to say, how would you compare that to today?
I'm going to get to that because today is a different ballgame. But so we had to pivot, and our pivot really was to go to the suburbs and serve people that were a little bit older because I knew how to entertain them.
Yeah.
At least I think I did, right? So that's what we did. We really just chased our demographic out of downtown into the suburbs. And we've continued to do that. As I get older, our concepts kind of get older, right? I mean, diners serve everybody, right? Kids love this diner.
Yeah.
But so do older people.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been chasing our own demographic, I guess, through our career. And just looking back at it seems right. But the iPhone happened, the recession happened. And so you saw that change things. And then fast forward, you can see as it went more credit and less cash over time, that changed the way people started to drink a little less, and they started to buy a little more food, and our concepts started to lean more food heavy.
Yeah,
there was a time when our beer and alcohol sales outweighed our food sales, especially downtown. Right, this was a bar you could eat at versus a restaurant you could have a drink at.
Yeah,
it's just much different today. Now, right now, from what I understand, alcohol consumption is down about 54% nationally.
I believe it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So it has made business tough.
Yeah. Kind of force you to have to redevelop and get your food to be interesting.
Yeah. In 2020, obviously COVID came and that set everything on its ear, but we all stayed open and we had to. If you think about how people got their food at that time, restaurants played a huge part of that supply chain. And if we weren't open, it really would have been a problem at the grocery stores. So the idea that restaurants remained open, even with all the hassling that we got from certain authorities at times, we were a very vital part of feeding people during that year or 6 months or whatever you want to call it, when everybody really stayed home.
Yeah.
We saw another shift, right? So alcohol sales slowed down. Late night went away. Done.
Yeah, almost instantly.
Done. Like, it's really hard to find a place open at 2 a.m. It's hard to find a place open at midnight.
Right now, still.
Yeah. We never thought about closing before 2 a.m. ever.
Yeah.
The state said I can sell drinks till 2 a.m. We were selling drinks till 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That's over with.
Yeah.
9 o'clock. It's a ghost town in most places. And I'm not just talking about Syracuse. I mean, I would challenge you. We went to a Rangers game. We're walking around Manhattan. It's tough to find something to eat late in Manhattan even.
Yeah.
I'm
going to Nashville next week, so it'd be interesting to see how that has changed. I imagine that it's still kind of, just because it's a tourist area and it's such a focus on the bar scene there.
Yeah, Broadway.
Yeah.
If you go to Broadway, it'll be open late. I have a bunch of great restaurant suggestions for you later if you want. Yeah, I love Nashville.
That'd be fun. So alcohol's kind of gone, still hasn't come back. I don't know if it ever will. At least not near, not in this kind of, few years, I think. Just people change their routines. Mm-hmm. And, I wouldn't say that I am the reason, but my generation, I think, doesn't go out like they used to. Now we have all kids and we just don't go out like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that the younger generation isn't even looking at that either. They're not going out. They're not drinking like they used to. So it forces us to also kind of look at what we do as a business, because our business, when it first started, it was the focus of bars. I mean, it was strictly bars. It was serving, Jack and Cola at that point.
Right.
And we've been able to transition away from that and look at more of the restaurant for our focus of our business. But even then, we still have to continue adapting, just because people just aren't drinking drinks like they used to, whether it's 2 a.m. or 5 p.m. The whole concept has kind of changed, and it forces us to kind of change with it.
Sure. You're seeing the same thing happen with actual soda, right? I mean, their biggest growth area in those at Coke is like non-carbonated, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
It's not cola anymore.
Yeah. No, soda's down for sure. Soda's been down, there was the whole health kick when soda was terrible for you and whatnot. That was that was like, I don't know, 10 years ago. People said, don't drink sugar. And there was that kind of point where like, we should look at something. And that was kind of like when we were looking into the whole dish machine and cleaning chemicals, just because they'll never go away.
Sure.
And that kind of added to, obviously your restaurants, they have to clean the dishes. So it made sense for our current customer base to bring that on. But that's still part of our whole program, is being able to offer that, just because soda sales are still on the decline. And I'm not sure if it will ever change the trajectory of it becoming a more dominant beverage in a restaurant.
Right.
But so look at your catering and versus your brick and mortar stores. When you first got into catering, this is kind of jumping back a conversation a little bit, but when you first got into catering, it's very different from a brick and mortar. What were challenges that you've looked at or you had to face being a catering, going offsite to weddings or to corporate events that were very different from serving inside of a restaurant?
Just logistics, right? I mean, just keeping things hot, keeping things cold. How do you get them there? How do you get consistency? A lot of times the labor that is on those teams is seasonal, right? So they're less in the culture of what you're doing in the restaurants. So those are the real challenges for us and anybody else who's on the street, catering. It's it's that for sure.
Cool. Mark, you have all this cool stuff that you started 2002, all these restaurants. What do you think keeps you motivated to either readapt or find new ideas or just kind of keep growing the ventures like Daily Diner? What keeps you going?
I don't know what else to do.
You could be fishing. You tell me you love fishing.
I love fishing. I always tell people I'm just not that smart. So we just, it's the truth. Every once in a while, I'll say to myself, okay, this is enough of it. Like we're good. Let's just run these restaurants. And the truth is I like building things. From my own heart. I like building things. So when I get an opportunity to go in and manipulate a building or put together something that's been floating around in my head or a notebook, I really love it. I always say, like, Nathan's good at running restaurants. I'm good at building them. So we work well together. It really is that. My drive to be creative is probably what keeps us going. And luckily, we've been successful enough to be able to reinvest in ourselves and our growth. So we've been able to do that. So I get to feed the machine. Yeah.
Very cool. What do you have any cool projects kind of on the radar or kind of in the funnel that you're looking to do?
Yeah, there was we were working at one time on a steakhouse concept downtown, and that didn't come to fruition. However, we recently have purchased the Arid Evans,
cool.
which is just this great restaurant that's been in business over 30 years. And we get an opportunity to reinvent it a little bit and take it to its, take that building and property to its next chapter. So we're going to be doing a steak-centric restaurant there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Kind of bouncing off the original idea that steakhouse downtown to kind of bring that to, is that Fayetteville?
It's Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
Yeah.
When do you think that your touches will kind of be onto that, and will you keep Arid Evans' name, or will it be its own name coming?
No, that name is really dear to and a part of the former owner's family, and we thought it was best that he thought it was best as well that he take that with him, which I think is a really cool story. I get to. This way we don't carry on the legacy and not do it the way his family wanted it done. So I like that idea. We're going to, it's a whole new restaurant that's going to be in there. And it should be December 1st, knock on wood, where we take possession and start to work on it. And we think somewhere in early May, June.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'll be the kind of the target open date.
That's the target open date. Yeah.
Very exciting. What what's your most exciting part of that project? Do you foresee that this concept will also grow like Daily Diner into new locations as well?
No.
Just kind of keep
this
it.
this is a one-off. Like, my partner and I both live out there in that area,
Mhm.
and we know that, albeit there's a lot of great restaurants, this piece of it's missing, and we both always wanted to own one, and be able to create something like this. So that's what we're doing,
Very cool.
and hopefully we will be there to enjoy it as well.
Very exciting. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of The Fizz at Brown Carbonic. A big thank you to Mark Bullis for joining us and sharing the story behind the Bull and Bear, the Daily Diner, and all of his catering. Mark keeps the local favorites going and the food scene thriving. As always, thank you to our sponsor, the Ice Company of Elmira, proudly keeping New York cool and giving back to the food bank of Central New York, especially at a time when the community support matters most. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you may listen. I'm Shawn Salle and Mark Bullis. This is The Fizz at Brown Carbonic, where your local flavor always comes first. Cheers. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, buddy.